So in the early hours of the morning, Israel launched missiles into Iran. Iran sent missiles back. So we're taking the first few steps into an incredibly hostile and dangerous position. Um, oh, okay. So when I say we are taking steps into a dangerous position, I don't just mean on a global scale. I mean the UK specifically, because America will support Israel. I don't think that's up for debate. Donald Trump is a moron and will never do any homework whatsoever. But even if he gets impeached tomorrow, the US will be led by Michael Pence, and the rest of the White House are fully supportive of the Israeli government regardless. There is nothing Israel can do that will change the mind or support of the people in the White House right now. So they have America. The thing that worries me the most, second to a global war, is that the UK has this nasty habit of falling behind the US in whatever horrific idea that they have. We did it with Iraq. We've done it. We mirror the politics. It's just a massive shit show. We very, very rarely have politicians who have the backbone to say fuck off. That's no business of ours. We're not going to send our soldiers in to get slaughtered. And certainly the soldiers who do come out with things like that don't typically get the power, because media outlets like Sky and BBC tend to slate them left, right and centre. Theresa May has already shown that she will do whatever Donald Trump asks. Her and Boris Johnson, I know they're at heads right now, but they will both bend over backwards and do anything that Trump or Pence asks without even questioning it. The attacks on Syria proved that, and it wasn't because there were chemical attacks, because there are chemical weapons being used in Yemen right now, and Theresa May is doing fuck all about it. She's done nothing about North Korea. She's done nothing about other countries that Saudi Arabia have had a hand in murdering people. She's doing nothing about the children starving in her own country, in the UK. So her actions are very predictable. Her motives are fairly clear. In the time she's been in office, she's just made her husband millions upon millions upon millions. Very, very predictable woman. She will do what pays her the most, and war will pay her a shit ton of money. Now, another issue that I have with this is, typically whenever someone criticizes the Israeli government, they're labeled as an anti-Semite, and it shuts down that conversation. This is an issue, because when you come out and you say that Israel it's led by a disgusting government, Benjamin Netanyahu is a repulsive, revolting, I haven't got enough words to accurately describe how much I hate him without swearing, and I'm really trying not to swear in this video. But that's nothing at all to do with religion. That's nothing at all to do with culture. That's with murdering innocent people, murdering innocent children, and saying, well, I had to. No, you didn't have to. You didn't have to blow up schools. You didn't have to blow up hospitals. You didn't have to destroy the safe zones. You said you did because the groups that you're fighting, the monsters that you created, were hiding there. But you never give proof. And every single time the Israeli government comes out and said, well, we had to bomb these schools, we had to X, Y, and Z, they never give proof. And when they're pushed time and time again, they either avoid the question or anti-Semitism is brought up, which ends the conversation. You cannot allow these actions to carry on just because you're afraid to be called an anti-Semite. And this is going to be one of the few times where I give the BBC credit for political coverage. This morning on BBC Hard Talk, I only caught the end of it, but they had an Israeli representative from the government talking about the strikes to Iran. And the presenter, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but the presenter this morning was trying to get this woman to justify the Israeli government's attacks on hospitals and schools. And all she could come out with was, well, if that's where our enemies are hiding, that's where we have to attack. She couldn't give proof. Now, full props to this guy. I'll try and find his name. But full props to him, because he didn't let that go. He carried on and... I think he only called an end to that interview, because it was at the very end of the interview, because he had run out of time. So that was impressive. That was pretty impressive. And it's something that we don't tend to see a lot in media. In fact, it's very, very rare to see that in mainstream media. Independent sources, yeah, happens all the time. People like George Gallows came out and said it, and he's become a bit of a pariah. But it's something that has to be said. If you're going to bomb a hospital, if you're going to murder countless innocent children, and say that it's because terrorists were hiding there and they were a threat to you, you should be able to show some proof. The coming days, weeks and months are worrisome. People should be worried. And I don't genuinely know what Theresa May is going to do with us in regards to what's happening. Typically, we stand behind America. Israel is allied to the UK and to America. The whole Iran deal is... it's falling apart. I mean, I hope it doesn't. I hope we can pull this back at the last second. But even if we do manage to save that deal and Iran doesn't start making nukes, which... by the way, as a side note, when people talk about the Iranian government and how shitty it is, I fully agree. It's awful. Most Middle Eastern governments are awful. Most dictatorships are disgusting. But it was us, the UK and the US, a few years ago who went in and overthrew the Iranian democratic government to put who we wanted in charge so we could get resources. We can't really just walk away from this situation, wipe our hands and say, this has nothing to do with us. At the same time, I don't want us to get involved in the way that we got involved with Iraq, because fuck me, was that a mistake. That was no good came of that whatsoever, unless you are a conservative and you had stocks in military contractors, like Blair did. But this is something that we should definitely be keeping an eye on. Peaceful resolutions are always the way to go. If you drop a bomb, you're not going to kill a terrorist, you're just going to make more in a different area. Unfortunately, I don't think the Conservatives are smart enough to click onto that. And even if they are, I'm not sure they care enough to click onto that.